Hi there, and welcome to our PenSpend webinar on THEIA. I'm introducing today both Nigel Curzon and Aidan Charlton, who'll be walking you through the presentation and the demo of our THEIA environment. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be recording this session and we'll be able to send that out following the session here today. At the end of the presentation, we're very happy to respond to any questions that anyone has, so please feel free to add them into the Q&A section on your screens here, and we'll look forward to responding to them. And I am happy now to hand over to Nigel.
Thank you very much, Louise. Next slide, please. So good afternoon or good morning, everybody. PenSpend have been in the integrity business for about 25 years, so we feel we have a sort of perspective. So in terms of the industry as a whole, the pipeline integrity or the asset integrity business, with our observation is there's what we're calling a quadrilemma. So there's four things sort of conspiring against us that make life difficult. The first one is obviously aging assets. In the UK, some of our pipelines were built in the 40s, 50s, and in the US, you know, there are pipelines now that are getting close to 100 years old. So issues, technical issues associated with aging pipelines is becoming more of a phenomena and requiring more resources and more thought. Second one is the actual scarcity of resources. You know, there's not many people coming into the oil and gas business, and I think that doesn't seem to be getting better. And there's people retiring. So I'm talking about people rather than oil and gas resources. And, you know, lastly, you know, going around the world, there's more and more legislation surrounding, not surprisingly really, with aging assets, again increasing the workload for operators. And the fourth thing is the financial outlook. This is you know, dwindling reserves, meaning less money around, and obviously variable oil price is decreasing confidence, therefore less investment. So all four of these things, I think, sort of conspire against asset integrity engineers, and that you know, that's our observation. So next slide, please. And in the background, lots and lots of fascinating and exciting innovations. But firstly, I think typically even very large operators don't have consistent systems for addressing pipeline integrity. Very often, it's a system of unconnected spreadsheets and systems. Data can be stored in lots of different places. You know, a lot of operators still have data that's in paper form, so not getting the best value out of it. So, and in the background, you know, we have access to extremely high quality, enterprise quality software at the click of a button, or I should say with a swipe of a credit card, and a wealth of new technology which is changing pretty much every day. Microservices architecture. There's a wealth of open source code doing all sorts of different things, and machine learning, artificial intelligence, and a lot of this is free with a massive user base and research base, and also access to third-party data. A lot of really interesting data, which can be, you know, aligned with pipeline-related data to get valuable insights. So all of these innovations, robotics, artificial intelligence, it's becoming quite well known as the fourth industrial revolution, starting from, you know, steam and the first industrial revolution, or the fourth industrial revolution. And this is very, very empowering. I think it creates tremendous opportunities in terms of problem solving. We can get easy access to maps and payments, accessing data and optical character recognition, and much of this is free and very low cost. So really, we see this as a tremendous opportunity to bring pipeline engineering or pipeline integrity engineering, you know, into the fourth industrial revolution. So pipeline 4.0. So next slide, please. The other thing that's happening on top of all this, again, it's innovation and development, is we've got things like autonomous sensors providing real-time data. There's a wealth of those and more being developed all the time. Autonomous underwater vehicles, not requiring manning, Fast digital inspection or fast digital imaging can replace videography with very, very high resolution photographs. 3D laser images to make very, very accurate profiles of the inside and outside of a pipeline. And also with satellites, synthetic aperture radar backed up with persistent scattered points can be used to measure and predict sub-centimeter ground movements, which is excellent for pipeline ground movement in areas of high rainfall or mountainous regions, some of which where some of our clients work. Next slide, please. And also, I think generally speaking, across in terms of expectations, pretty much everything now is expecting everything a few clicks away. You know, Amazon, you know, you click and it arrives the same day or the next day. And, you know, people are used to using resources to find skills, buy things, listen to music, read books, and, you know, and retrain. So really, the way in which we interact with data and expect to access services is changing dramatically, and there's no real going back. Next slide, please. So our vision really is to bring all this to pipelines. So first of all, leveraging our 25 years of pipeline integrity legacy, we've developed all sorts of things, tools, techniques, a wealth of online training material we've developed over that time period, and provide a software as a service, which is based on native cloud. So there's no software to install, just works from a browser, so not a virtual machine or a virtual desktop, just a simple browser. We want to allow data ingestion and alignment of data. We know that's important for pipelines as being linear assets. So smart recognition of data, accepting pretty much any format, static and dynamic data. And also from a asset manager or an asset integrity's point of view as well, we want it to be very, very broad. We know all the things, you know, with our experience working with clients, we know the things people are looking for. So we have implemented, you know, data document management, you know, assessment and visualization of data, user definable and holistic KPIs, role-based portals, e-learning and wikis. So learning is incorporated into the platform, document libraries, benchmarking, enhanced security and control of data, and integrating with enterprise resource solutions such as Maximo, Esri, and SAP. So this is our vision, and we've been investing for the last couple of years, and we have developed a platform which has allowed us to achieve pretty much all of this, and obviously more going forward. So that's all I wanted to say, and I think now I'm going to hand over to Aidan, who's going to actually demonstrate the platform and what we've done so far.
Very good, thank you, Nigel. So, as Nigel's talked about, we've developed a modern software. It's cloud-based architecture. We make the best of all security developments. We've seen that data does have a very high value, both for our benefit and not. We've seen that recently with one of the US pipelines and others. So everything is encrypted at rest, takes the best security architecture that we can possibly get. Ultimately, CIA, MOD, these types of organizations are using cloud-based architecture, so we trust. So we can log in from anywhere. If we want to log in from the field, we can do. If we want to log in from an office or home base, we can do. And we can see, in general, people are working more from home and not fully office-based. So this helps enable that shift in working style. And we'll give a very quick overview of the kind of ethos behind the software. And really, software, you know, people expect more of software now than they did 5 or 10 years ago. Software doesn't have to be terrible to use. So this is an example of a flow-based structure. So how, you know, if we've got a very large amount of data, how do we structure that so it's comprehensible for a human? And in this case, this example, it's structured by region, by field, and then by asset. We can move it around and filter in and out on different sections. So if I'm only working on pipeline B as the example, we can either look at this directly or we can filter down onto it. And this shows us some of the example data I've entered into here just for the demo today. So in general, structure it by data class. We can add further classes. Yeah, in this case, we've got some examples here: design, maintenance, external inspection that we could add in additionally. And what we find with existing technology, pretty much all technology companies, they make it very easy to get data in, very difficult to get data out. And we work a little bit the opposite way. We're engineers. We've designed this program for engineers. So in every place where there's data, we can download it. And when we say download the data, we're talking about machine readable data. Data format in general has a problem. There are a lot of attempts to standardize format, and essentially they're very good attempts, but nothing's perfect just yet. So when we're ingesting data, everything gets cleaned to a standard format. It gets as close to SI as possible. And everything's automatically categorized, recognized off, and we can always get to that data. And say, for example, for an eye-line inspection, generally the data coming in from these is human readable, but is very rarely fully machine readable. And so, for example, if we have a pipeline, when we upload some data, we clean the data, transfer it to SI or as close as we can do. And we want to get to some information, what can we get out of that data immediately? Generally, to upload the data takes 3 or 4 seconds. If the system cannot automatically recognize what to do with it, it will ask. And in this case, there's some example data. So we've split this up into corrosion and mill and various other features. So we want to interact with that data. If there are a lot of features, we need to be able to hone in on exactly what matters. So everything's interactive. If, for example, we want to have a look at a particular aggregation of features, we can do. And in this case, to me, that looks like a section of spiral weld, and it shouldn't be there. So potentially we're finding information about this pipeline that we didn't previously know. Similar for distribution, nearest girth weld, all the typical type of plots that you would expect to see in a report. And then if we've got any further information, if we have locational data, for example, we can immediately have a look at our pipeline. What does it look like? In this case, there's a very flat section to the pipeline at the top. We know it goes through a tunnel, so this brings us immediate access to our data, and it really is within a few seconds. And so what do we do then? We've got some data, it's all common format. So we use advanced algorithms to merge that data. So things like pipeline alignment, and there's a few steps in this. We can either do it by girth weld, we fingerprint the pipeline together. We can do it by variation in data, using modified fact-free transforms and some other advanced mathematics. Or the other one is interpolated transposition. So where we have data, say for example, external inspection data with only lat and long and no axial information relating to the pipeline, we transfer that onto a common data key. And what that means is we can merge all that data very efficiently and then run assessments on it very efficiently. So for example, we've got an operating parameters and a standard. We can just keep on adding more and run scenarios on the pipeline very quickly, typically in 10, 20 seconds. And so we want to run some analysis. In this case, we've added some PenSpen class. So whether we want to add API, DNV, NACE, or PenSpen class, and PenSpen class are just assessments we commonly use internally when we're working with THEIA ourselves. And similarly within that, if we want to assess mill, and these are broadly based on PDAM categorizations, so they're commonly used. If we want to have a look at an assessment again, we go back to it. The assessments typically run in about 10 or 20 seconds. We get the results out straight away. Whether that's THEIA and G charts, Kastner, general plots, or even the report. So the reports are all automatically generated. They run within 10 seconds, and we can have a choice of language. Do we want to view the report in Spanish, in English, in French, or any other language? It makes a little difference. We're all engineers, we just want to look at the same data. In each case, we can download the data. So if we want to look at every single calculation step, the actual numerical values, we can do that. We just download the data. It's all clean data, so we can immediately use that. And that's great, but ideally, we'd like to view that on a map as well. You know, where are these features? Are there more features near a feature near the pipeline? Or are they near a road crossing or a river crossing? You know, what's going on with my pipeline? How can I make a better decision? And so we have mapping, and I've zeroed this on Newcastle purely because I'm based out of the Newcastle Integrity Office. But we select an asset and select what we would like to show in that. So we can add a few items. And we can add all data. If I had more data in there, I would have more options. So we'll load some data up. Again, very quick. You know, the idea of this is it's very easy to use, very fast. In this case, it's a pseudo pipeline. It's not a real one for the purposes of this demonstration. So, do I have features here? What are they? How deep are they? In this case, the features aren't so deep that they're not being flagged up for immediate concern. And it works exactly the same as many common mapping solutions, so we can rotate, move it around. If we don't like the 3D view, we can switch into different views. You know, the mapping should be nice to use. And there's so much data going on with pipelines. How do we manage inspection campaigns? How do we manage the actions after that? How do we manage how this pipeline's being managed, how the organization's being managed in some cases? So we've integrated all of the assessments, all of the data, human input and live input with KPI dashboarding. And this really drives home how quickly you can get use out of that data. Everything updates automatically when it's linked together. And of course, a computer program can be great. It can be very nice to use. But if we don't do things correctly, we run the risk of de-skilling our workforce. We could have a lower person with an engineer with lower competence performing the assessment, but they also need to understand what's going on. So it's very important to drive competency within our group of engineers, as pipeline engineers. Over the years, PenSpen have developed a large amount of learning material, so we make this free access. So any client with access to the e-learning module will have open access to this. If we want to learn something about geohazards, we do that. We just find that, view the material, everything renders really fast. It's technically it's HTML5. It renders immediately, and we can go in and search whatever we like in that learning material. And there's so much material there. I think it's the equivalent of 3 or 4 MSc master's courses. Nigel can correct me if I'm wrong. And there's so much there. You know, how do we find what we're looking for? And the answer is a very fast search function. If we want to find some information on miter bends, we can do, and we always go immediately back to relevant learning material. And in future, there are some quite large scale developments here. We're talking about a shift to Industry 4. How do we get data in? How do we move it around? How do we prevent data silos where some sections of data can't talk to other sections of data, can't be used efficiently? And yeah, really the data we're holding in here, it's all common formats. So we work in terms of import, export, we take in as many formats as we possibly can. We export it in as many formats as we possibly can. And I think perhaps that's a good time to switch back over to Nigel and continue with that. That's a very broad overview.
Thank you, Aidan. So in summary, we've got we've developed a software as a service platform, which we can provide to our clients on a monthly subscription basis, which is completely integrated with our integrity business. It's developed by engineers, integrity engineers, or asset managers for asset managers. It's flexible. It has off-the-shelf functionality, but also the way we set it up, the environment we've created, we can very easily develop bespoke applications as well. So data ingestion via upload, enterprise connections and third party. Also, using data science for both insights and foresights. Right now, we're concentrating on some of the defect assessment things: data alignment, remaining life, automation, mapping, risk assessments, and KPIs. But we have lots and lots of ideas, and as we talk to clients, we're getting lots of other ideas coming in. So really, we have a rapid solution deployment capability, having built the platform. So really, we're able to innovate pretty much as business as usual. We're constantly adding stuff and adapting it to clients' needs. So next slide, please. So a little bit about the commercial model. So what does it cost? So we've got two ways of doing it. One is software as a service. This is where the client effectively takes responsibility for uploading their data, doing their assessments. They manage their subscription and pay monthly. So we're providing a service to them. The other one is what we call technology augmented consultancy. This is where we do the work with their support. We provide the platform to them, so they get access to visualization, mapping, and reports. So we provide our deliverables using the THEIA platform, and they get access via that. So the two ways of doing it, depending on skills and requirements. So next slide, please. So a commercial overview. We thought very long and hard about what the methodology should be for actually charging for it on a monthly basis. So the most influential things over the monthly charge are its functionality. Obviously, we recognise that some clients will only want e-learning, some will want a broad range of things, just depending on what other services they buy in or have, what capability they have. The other aspect is the number of pipelines that a client has. That obviously impacts the data that's stored and the value to the client, frankly. So the other aspect, of course, is the total length of pipelines. Some of our clients have one pipeline which is 1,500 kilometers long. Some clients have 150 pipelines that are 20 kilometers long. So and also the number of users. We know that some other software providers, I'm not talking just about integrity software providers, but general software providers, are very heavy on ramping up the cost of number of users. It can be, up to 10 users is a multiple of 10, and beyond 10 you might get a discount. But we have we're quite generous when it comes to adding additional users. We want it to be accessible to our clients. And the other thing is the level of support. We have the basic level is email support. Bronze, silver is telephone support with a very quick turnaround, and gold you actually get consultancy built in as well, so we can actually assist with the work and provide advice. The other aspect, which of course is very important as well, which is time commitment. Just for a client to commit to longer periods, then we discount that. So it's like a loyalty bonus effectively. So minimum really is 3 months. And we have discounts from 12 months and 24 months. So that's how it works. We couldn't really come up with a simpler way because we have to take account of all of these factors. So I've got a couple of examples. Next slide, please. So this is the what we call THEIA module pricing. So I've got two examples here. Example one is 7 modules. We've got eight pipelines, 600 kilometers. with 5 users and a 12-month commitment, so a subscription and bronze support. So that will be about £4,000 a month, basically, for that level. So that's, you know, a relatively large pipeline network. Example 2, a very much larger network, 10 modules, so large capability, 10 pipelines, total of 1,500 kilometers, 5 users, and that's 24 months commitment, so a subscription for 2 years, and silver support. That'll be about £7,300 per month. So I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into you know, the functionality and how we actually charge for it and the services that we provide. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'll hand back to Louise just to finish off. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Nigel, for taking us through the presentation there, and for Aidan for doing the demo. Feel free to add your questions in there. I have a couple, if I can start. If I have both Aidan and Nigel available for some questions. You say that this is a cloud-based solution. Is that can that be deployed in a private cloud environment if need be? Perhaps Aidan, do you want to go for that one?
Sure. So the software is modular. We do take a cloud environment. It's the architecture we're using. It enables access from anywhere. We understand that some clients are likely, or possibly likely, to want private cloud installation. It is possible. It does prevent potentially security updates being pushed out quite as timely, or new feature updates. But it's something that can be discussed with either Louise, Nigel, or myself for further information.
Thank you. Okay. Another one here is, in terms of what you've shown us there for THEIA, is that the complete solution, or is there more to be added to it? Nigel, do you want to maybe talk about it a little bit more broadly?
Certainly. I mean, we want to. Our vision is to provide pretty much everything that an operator would need from a pipeline integrity department or an inspection department. So it would include obviously the defect assessments you talked about. We talk about risk assessment, risk-based inspection. We talk about planning for digs. We talk about scheduling, scheduling work around pipelines. We talked about key performance indicators, live feeds. We talk real-time updates on remaining life based on live feeds. So we get, we've got lots of ideas, and also we're starting to extend it out into not just pipelines but other facilities as well, AGIs, pressure vessels, piping for assets. So no real limit really. I think most of the effort has been getting the platform up and running in the cloud, and now I think actually implementing new standards and validating them is obviously it takes time, but it's quicker compared with how long it's taken to get to where we are now. So we're very ambitious to grow it more and more. So
great, thank you very much. Another question here is, does THEIA integrate with existing systems? Aidan, do you want to run with that?
Sure, yeah. So as we're cloud-based, we can interact with anything with an API. So whether that be an ERP system such as SAP, a geographical type system such as the ESB type formats, the general rule is if there's an API, we'll quite happily connect to it, provided that falls within our security protocols. Great,
thank you very much. And I've just got 2 more questions here. One is around Aidan, you mentioned security already. It is that question around the security of an environment like this online. So maybe you can speak to some of the philosophy behind our approach.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, as an industry, we store a vast amount of data, and there's always a balance really to be struck. Do we have that data so secure that nobody can access it, or do we have it so freely that the wrong people can access it? There is a balance to be struck, and there are some things we can do with this really. So in terms of our general philosophy, I won't go into too much detail. Again, if anyone wants to know more detail, the best solution is to talk with either Louise, Nigel, or myself. But in general, we follow best in class. So using example OAuth2 authentication, multi-factor authentication, encryption at rest of all data. And this is all with third-party oversight, and also to ISO 27001 standard.
Great, thank you very much. And then just one last question here is, you mentioned support, Nigel. What kind of support is offered on a platform like this? There's the various different levels.
Yes, bronze support is by email, whether relatively quick turnaround. Silver gives you telephone just support. We'll call back within a reasonable time frame, within a few hours. And gold is the same as silver in terms of support, telephone support, but also we provide consultancy. It's a number of consultancy hours are provided to advise really. So that's the way we've organised it. So.
Very good. Thank you very much, Nigel and Aidan, for those questions or answering them. One other one has just come in here is you also mentioned the technology augmented consultancy. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that, Nigel?
Yes, certainly. I mean, technology augmented really is, as I'm sure everybody on this call would know, that we provide, Penspen have been providing integrity services to our clients for many, many years. And we're using a number of in-house tools, but we don't really, our deliverable is typically a report. So we use the tools to produce graphs and charts. And we advise clients on software solutions. But with technology augmented, we're using the tools we're developing as part of THEIA to deliver our services to our clients. So we're using artificial intelligence to get a bit better insights for data and foresights. And then we actually provide our client access to THEIA so they can actually use the same visualization tools, and we deliver reports using the THEIA platform. So it's a combination of THEIA and ourselves. So the client the clients don't run their own reports. We run them for them, but provide them in the THEIA environment. So, but using all the functionality within THEIA. So.
Very good. Okay. Thank you very much for everybody joining. I'm conscious that we have we were going to run a little bit longer, but I think if everybody is happy with the information that we've provided so far, any further information or perhaps a request for a demo or anything like that, please feel free to contact us. We will send out information in relation to how you can do that following this call. In the meantime, thank you very much for your time, for joining us this afternoon, and we'll look forward to hearing from anybody else in the future. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.